Hey, what's going on, guys? What's going on? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. Let's talk about DC. Everybody's talking about DC right now in terms of what's going on. Some Trump supporters have decided that they want to go storm the Capitol. I assume you've been watching this. Give me a yes or no if you've been keeping up with all this chaos that's been going on. And let me know what you think about it. I think it's kind of crazy. I think it's ridiculous. But it's not a surprise. It's not a surprise. And I saw it when it all. Let me know what you think about it. When it all broke out, I was actually. Let me know what you think about it. Sorry, let me hit this button. When it all broke out, I was actually about to go on a run with Alicia, and at that time, I just had to think about it. I had to kind of process this because I don't want to just talk about what's happening and just sort of give you, a point of view that is something that you're going to hear on CNN or one of the media outlets. I don't consider those media outlets to be intelligent or beneficial, especially for Black people. But I think I want to kind of lay it out in a way that Black people might benefit from what's happening in terms of understanding it, gaining some perspective. And so what I'm going to do is say this. I'm going to start off by kind of laying out the general theme of my thoughts on all of this. I laid some of it out earlier on Instagram. My Instagram is The Real Boyce Watkins. And on Instagram, I kind of made a basic point. The basic point is that this is not your fight. This is not your fight. And the reason I say it's not your fight is because when I look at what's happening right now in DC, where the Trump supporters are going crazy, they're climbing over the Capitol walls and and doing some things that I haven't seen in a very long time, if ever. I don't think they even did all of this during Vietnam, even though some crazy things did happen in Vietnam. I mean, if you remember in Vietnam, people were getting assassinated and all kinds of crazy stuff. So it's not like this is the first time America's had unrest. If you go back, to the end of slavery, the Civil War, right? You had a lot of division there. America is as divided now as it was during the Civil War. So you're seeing the result of something that's been boiling over for a really long time. Chickens coming home to roost, like Ricardo was saying in here. I see you, Mr. McMore. You're right, Ricardo. Chickens coming home to roost. And because these seeds of division have been getting sown in this country for a very long time. And what I'll do is kind of lay out what I've been seeing in terms of things that led me to speculate a long time ago that this could be the outcome, that this could be the kind of country that you're looking at. And so, but remember, I want to make sure I make that point very clear from the beginning. This ain't your fight. This is not your fight. When I look on that screen, I see, you know what I see when I look on that screen? I swear to God, I see a big episode of Jerry Springer. I don't know about y'all. I see the biggest Jerry Springer episode in the history of this country, where you've got a bunch of white folks who done lost their damn mind, who are mad because my white privilege doesn't trump your white privilege, pun intended. My white privilege does not trump your white privilege. So now we just mad. We just a bunch of white folks getting mad. I don't see anything on that screen that, in my view, has to have to do with what we're trying to do in terms of achieving Black liberation, because none of these people have ever done anything significant for the sake of Black liberation. I mean, it'd be different if one of the groups fighting, let me just say this, if one of the groups fighting was the group that was writing reparations checks for Black people, sending out, $100,000 checks to Black families for reparations, then I would be like, okay, I'm cheering for them. I'm cheering for that team. but the way I see it, as I see two political parties fighting each other, who both of whom have engaged in consistent neglect of Black people. And also what I see is a Congress that has really been smoking the crack pipe of their own elitism for a very long time. I did a breakdown the other day where I explained to you all that Nancy Pelosi, the lady who worked with Mitch McConnell, who conspired with Mitch McConnell to deny the American people basic living expenses for 9 straight months, and then expected people to just figure it out, right? Because they up there playing games. Nancy Pelosi is worth almost $200 million. Mitch McConnell is worth $22 million. I think that's actually a low number because his wife is the daughter of a very wealthy Chinese man who's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. I don't know if y'all know this. And the reason I brought up their wealth level, besides the fact that I'm intrigued with economic issues, right? I think economics kind of makes the world go round. Money makes the world go round, is because I said, I'll be damned. So you literally have a situation where one person who's worth 200 million and another person who's worth 22 million are making life or death economic decisions for families that are begging the government to send them a $2,000 check. Had to wait 6 months for that check, 7 months, 8 months, whatever, however long it's been. It's been at least since the summer. So I said, you're asking for it. You're asking for it. If the American people ever get enough balls to roll up in that spot, y'all gonna have some issues. Y'all gonna have some real problems. I didn't know if the Trump supporters was gonna get them first or if Antifa was gonna get them first. Because you saw right before this happened, it was Antifa that was going to McConnell and Pelosi's houses and vandalizing their houses. Antifa was the one burning down the corporations because your capitalism has gotten out of control. Right? You're taking care of the wealthy people and you're ignoring the masses. Inequality in this country is at a level that it has not been since the robber baron era of the 20th century, or early 20th century. If you know anything about this history, let me just break it down for you right quick. In the early 20th century, you had a huge problem with inequality where you had a few people doing extremely well and the masses were struggling. And they measure inequality on a graph. Former Labor Secretary Robert Reich does a good job describing this in the film Inequality for All. And so you had this massive amount of inequality. And then America got better. America started taking care of other people. They started passing laws like the New Deal and all these other, giving land away and the GI Bill, all those things that they excluded black people from. Right? You got a special level of abuse. You got a type of abuse that other Americans did not get. But America as a whole, at least among the white folks, got to where it was more egalitarian. It wasn't fair for you, but it was getting fairer for them. And then white folks started screwing over other white people again. Around the 1970s, that inequality measure started rising. Inequality started going up and up and up and up and up. They have various measures they use to determine how unequal the society is. And now we're back at that peak again that we haven't been at in 100 years. So we can talk all day. We're B1 here. We talk about what black people have a right to be angry about. But what's fascinating is what you're seeing on TV is what even a lot of white people have a right to be angry about. And what I'm going to do is let you know straight up, point blank, period. If you're looking for some Democrat, Republican nonsense, I'm not going to give you that. If you're looking for me to sit back and bash the liberals and leave let the conservatives sort of walk free, I'm not here to do that. And vice versa. I'm just not here to talk about how crazy the Trump supporters are. We know that some of them are crazy. We know some of them are not crazy. I know very good people who voted for Donald Trump, and it might have something to do with, like, I don't know, maybe they don't like abortion or they think they're not up with the LGBT agenda, right? So this whole myth that being a Trump supporter makes you racist is just wrong. It's just not true. It's people trying to claim your blackness like a pimp. It's like them trying to control and own your blackness. When Joe Biden said, well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. Well, who the hell are you to tell me what it means to be black? You ain't never been black. You know nothing about being black. You do not have a black card, nor would I ever give you one. And you're not a friend to the black community. So don't you dare ever tell me what I got to do in order to earn my blackness. So here's what I'm saying. So Congress, with the wealthy people in Congress, basically just making life or death economic decisions for poor people, they've always just felt safe. They've always felt, and I always wondered about this. I always thought, this is so fascinating that you've got soldiers, with guns and people and millions of people that are pissed at what you're doing. They are so mad at you for what you're doing. You're starving them out of their house. They got evicted because of you, and you're doing nothing. You're sitting there, you're going back and forth and you're wrangling with each other. And I'm sitting thinking, when is this going to blow up? At some point, they're going to realize, hey, wait a minute. I can actually fight you. We can actually do something. We could actually climb over that fence and come get your ass, right? I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not supporting. I don't want to live in a violent country. I don't. But one thing I know is that, I'm a big believer in free enterprise. I'm a big supporter of the building of business. I want everybody to make money. But one thing I know is that when you let a small group of people make a lot of money and let everyone else make nothing or let everyone else suffer, it's going to cause problems for you. So this is just, in terms of personal advice. If you ever blow up and start making big money and doing well, and you got a circle around you, You better make sure that the people in your circle are eating good, because if you don't make sure that those people in your circle are eating good, eventually they're going to come eat you because you left them starving like a bunch of dogs and you're wagging food in front of their face. So anyway, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. So again, I reiterate this, dear Black people, this is not your fight. That is literally my primary message. This ain't your fight. When you talk about what's happened in this country in the past year, with Donald Trump, what I saw with Trump, first of all, the man should never have been president. He's not presidential. He's not. His ego is a big problem. He tends to think he knows all the answers. He tends to think he's always the smartest guy in the room. He tends to destroy relationships. He's a bully, right? And that's what made him a very bad president. He wasn't the kind of person that should be representing the United States on a global stage. I mean, say what you want about Joe Biden, but at least he knows how to be presidential. I'm not a fan of Joe Biden because he incarcerated hundreds of thousands of Black men. You cannot do something like that and then regain my trust. I don't forgive that easily. You can go to some church and find some forgiving Negroes for that type of stuff. You ain't gonna get that from me. I ain't got that much forgiveness in my heart when you don't let my brother go to prison and get raped and beaten for 20 years, and then you act like you're gonna be my friend. I can't be that disloyal. That's not going to happen. But in terms of white people who are presidential, Obama was presidential. Biden is presidential. Even George Bush was somewhat presidential. His father was very presidential. Donald Trump is not presidential because Donald Trump is just kind of a sloppy, loudmouth narcissist. And in the scope of that, what you saw was he didn't respect the office in the sense that he was very reckless with his power. He would tweet crazy stuff and then erase the tweet later, or have tweets coming out with typos and misspellings. He's clearly a man that has so much audacity, that his audacity led him to have almost infinite confidence in what he was doing, to the point where he wouldn't even spell check his tweets. He's like, oh, it'll be fine, right? And to some extent, confidence can be admired. Remember, when you study Donald Trump's life before he got into politics, Trump was actually on some level somewhat of an admirable person. All the Black folks that say they hate Donald Trump now, they loved his ass back when he was a billionaire that everybody wanted to be like. So many people wanted to be like Trump back in the day. I'm telling you, rappers used to rap and say, one day I'll be like Donald Trump, blah, 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 blah. Right? They all the stuff they're saying now, they weren't saying this 10 years ago. Just go check the record. Don't trust me. Go check the record. But so the confidence, the confidence that led him to buy a $400 million building at the age of 28 is something that you can learn from. But that confidence easily translates into arrogance, and that arrogance spills itself into the White House. Now, here's where the liberals screwed America. What you have is, I saw Van Jones basically go on a rant where he said, this is treason, this is treason. I agree. I think it's absolute treason. There's no question about it. Textbook treason. But treason has been committed on both sides. Both sides were treasonous, because the way this pandemic was handled, what was absolutely atrocious. The liberals overreacted. When you want to shut down everybody's job and have 100 million people out of work because you want to try to win an election, that makes me very angry at you. When you want to get millions of people evicted from their house, got their children starving in the street, and all this other stuff, that makes me mad. You better have a damn good reason for that behavior. So let me tell you what I was seeing from my view. My views piss a lot of people off, because I'm just going to tell you my truth. I have confidence in my truth, because I'm marrying a college professor, and we're not stupid people. We look at data. We look at facts. We're not easily hypnotized by media. I don't care what Rachel Maddow told you. I don't care what Fox News told you. I go look at the data myself. What I saw was a virus that you had to protect yourself from. You should be wearing your mask. You should be sanitizing your hands. You should social distance. You should only travel if it's necessary, whatever the case may be. But I did not see a national emergency that would have been treated the same way had it not been an election year. The reason that the Democrats wanted to shut down everything down and starve you out and get you to the point where you're waiting on a check from the government, they've reduced hardworking people into welfare queens and welfare kings. The reason they wanted you to be reduced to a welfare queen is because they wanted you to blame the other party. They didn't care if America was destroyed in the process. They didn't care if the economy was ruined. They didn't care how many people got evicted. They didn't care if young people are jumping off of buildings and overdosing on pills and killing themselves because of the social isolation, the psychological effects of the isolation. Their goal was, we want to scare the hell out of people and we want to destroy their lives. And it's okay as long as they blame the Republicans, as long as they blame it on Trump, then we're going to win the election and protect our power so that me, Nancy Pelosi, can protect my $200 million in wealth and all the great business deals that I've gotten for my husband. The hustle for the politicians in many cases is that they themselves are not the ones who end up making a lot of the money. A lot of times it's their spouses. If you look around, and I'm talking black and white politicians, you'll notice many of them have very wealthy spouses. Well, let me tell you how that wealth works. I told you, I'm an expert on this money thing, so I know how the money flows. Think about this. The reason that Nancy Pelosi's husband is able to make $10 million, $20 million, $50 million business deals is because his wife is a power broker. So as a result of the fact that his wife is a power broker, then he's got CEOs coming to the house for dinner. He's got billionaires coming through the garden. He's got multimillionaires roaming around. That's the same reason that all of Donald Trump's children are making 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 million a year. Because when you have that type of power, you're able to have a huge influence on what's going on with economics. And because your government is owned by the capitalists pay to play. They understand that if I want to get next to the Obamas, I got to write a check. If I want to go talk to the Trumps, I got to write a check. If I get access to Biden, I got to write a check to his crackhead son who don't know how to do nothing, right? And so as a result, if you look at these people, all these people that are in Congress, most of these people are extremely wealthy and their spouses are doing really well. And also the wealthy spouse propels them into a position where they can run for Congress. Raphael Warnock could not have won that Senate race in Georgia if he had not been able to raise $124 million. He is not going to the Senate to take care of black people because black people cannot afford to give him $124 million, at least not to my knowledge in terms of money we can give away for politics, right? These checks were being written by big money capitalists who were lobbying and positioning him to obtain power that they can then use to make big business deals. It's legalized corruption. That's what it is. It's legalized corruption. As long as you don't cross certain lines, those lines give you a lot of wiggle room. As long as you don't cross those lines, then you're not going to get in trouble. But those lines should be a little bit thinner. The margin of error should be thinner. If you look at all these, I could just go down the list. Kamala Harris's husband it's not a coincidence that, again, think about this. This is a black woman who went to an HBCU now. Give me a yes or no. Give me a yes or no. Are there black men at HBCUs? Give me a yes or no. Or if Kamala is a pretty lady and she was very pretty when she was young, she's still very pretty. Do you think that she met some brothers at HBCUs? Maybe she could have married a black man. Do you think that would have been possible? I mean, I'm getting married. I said I don't know if I'm gonna get married or not, but when I get married, it's gonna be a sister. I know it's gonna be a sister because I know that there's millions of black women out here who are great marriage material. And if the first one didn't work, I was gonna find another one, right? So that Kamala Harris met a lot of good quality black men. Right? Don't believe the nonsense that, none of the brothers stepped up to the plate. I talked to a smart person who said, and it kind of freaked me out. She said, well, no, these brothers got to step up. Ain't none of these brothers step up. I'm like, so you telling me that this really pretty lady who's the attorney general of California, who's meeting all these black men and who's world famous, you mean to tell me that there's not one black man on the entire planet, one black man who meets the standard who would have been interested in hollering at Kamala Harris? Is that what you're really telling me? Like, do you understand the ridiculousness of what you're saying? Like, do you understand how illogical that is? Do you know how many millions of us that there are? So anyway, the reason Kamala married Doug Emhoff is because Doug is a high-powered lawyer with lots of connects that can help her raise the money she needed to run for office at a high level. You can't do that unless you're in the millionaire billionaire club. And I guarantee you that when you go 10 years from now, mark my word, 5 to 10 years from now, especially after they're out of office, you're going to see Kamala Harris's family net worth skyrocket. It'll be 5 to 10 times higher than what it is right now, just like it was for the Obamas, just like it is for the Trumps, just like it is for the Bushes. That is a pathway to economic power, right? So what's really happened here is that you have this interesting dynamic where you've got these, this interesting situation where oppression has become a bipartisan agenda. right? That both parties, as much as they may fight with each other, they are in complete alignment and complete agreement in a couple of things. One, we both don't give a damn about black people. We will never support a reparations package. We will never do anything to improve the economic state of black people. We don't even want to talk about slavery because it's too hard to do this, right? Give me a yes or no if you understand what I'm saying. If you look at, I pulled up a screenshot actually earlier. I'm gonna try to see if I can share it actually on the screen. It's from Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Black Labor, White Wealth. And in the book, Black Labor, White Wealth, Dr. Claude Anderson shows in a very intriguing graphic how the increase in the number of black elected officials has done nothing for black wealth. Do you hear me when I say nothing? Zero, goose eggs, nothing. And Dr. Anderson's going to be here tomorrow, by the way. Dr. Anderson's going to come through drboystv.com tomorrow to talk about all the chaos going on in Washington. He hit me up today. He's coming through. Sean King will be here on the 8th. So I look forward to getting their perspectives because I'm not the only person here who can say some things about this stuff. And in fact, I'll probably do a panel on it too because I really want to hear a lot of points of view. So here's the deal. The oppression of black people is a bipartisan issue. Both parties agree that black people don't matter. The other bipartisan issue has become that both parties also agree that the American people don't matter, that poor people don't matter, that the long-term economic health of this country doesn't matter. Both parties have come to a conclusion that it's okay for all of us as wealthy people to literally rape and pillage the entire treasury to our own benefit, to leave our children with nothing more than worthless fiat currency after we've pushed inflation through the roof, and just go on and do what we're going to do. So let me show you this graph. I want you to see this chart here. This is from Dr. Claude Anderson's book, Black Labor, White Wealth. It's literally a screenshot of his book. So what I'm showing you here, and I'm gonna try to zoom in a little bit, so because I want you guys to see it. Okay, let me see if I can make this zoom in some. Okay, so here's the first column. This is the number of black elected officials right here. 103 in 1964. You had a skyrocket up to 8,000 black elected officials in 1992. Are you watching? Give me a yes or no if you can see this on my screen. So you see here that the number of elected officials increased by almost 80-fold, from 103 to 8,000. Look at the unemployment rate. You would think black unemployment would go down and get better as a result of all these black people that we're putting in office, all this voting we're doing, all these booties to the polls, all these souls to the polls, going all the way back to the time of Malcolm X. You would think this 10.8% would go down. It didn't. You go up to 1992, 75, 88, 92. It is higher 18 years later than it was when you had just 103 black elected officials. Let's look at the incarceration rate. Black prisoners. The black incarceration rate in 1964, the percentage of the prison population that was black was 33%. By the year 1992, when you had 8,000 black elected officials, it had gone up to 45%. So you have people that are being elected, but unfortunately, it gives the impression that they are selling you out. They are making themselves rich, but they're selling you out. Again, let's look at the poverty rate. The percentage of black people that were below the poverty line in 1964, 64. The percentage of black people that were below the poverty line in 1992. The number has not changed. That's an 18-year period. Per capita income went from 53%, meaning that black people had 53% of the income of white people. And then here it's 59%. So it's still, so that economic inequality in terms of income is still there. So what I'm saying to you is that, as much as the reason they play the same game with you is for the same reason that it's almost like the same way little babies love the game of Peekaboo. And I read this in a book, and I'm not an expert on babies, but I remember reading that the reason babies love Peekaboo is because babies are easily fooled when they're just little babies, because babies haven't learned how the world works yet. So when you play Peekaboo with like a 6-month-old, the 6-month-old, you ever do Peekaboo with a baby and they just freak out? They're like, ah! And you can just do that for hours and they keep freaking out every time. Well, the reason that the baby freaks out when you play Peekaboo is because when you disappear, the baby really thinks you're gone. Like the baby really thinks you don't exist anymore, because the baby doesn't know the concept that you can leave and come back. They're thinking you're gone, like mommy's dead, right? And then mommy comes back and they're like, oh my God, that's so amazing. How did you do that? Right? So basically you have a game of political Peekaboo. You have a game of political Peekaboo. They come at you with the same trick, the same stupid tricks, the same stupid rhetoric, the same stupid lies every election, and every single time you fall for it because we are overly forgiving and our memory is short. We don't remember that 4 years ago, they said the exact same thing. We don't remember that they did the same thing 4 years ago that they're doing right now. We don't remember that our economic situation never improves. Despite the fact that they've been telling us for a very long time, like, oh, make sure you vote. If you vote, that's going to make a difference. No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do it. Like for example, there's a difference between doing something that you know is going to make a difference versus doing something that you think is going to make a difference that isn't going to make a difference, right? So there may be something you may do where you know it's not going to work. You know it's not going to make a difference in your life, but you do it anyway because you enjoy it. Right. So, for example, I'm an Ohio State Buckeye, and when the Buckeyes are playing in the national championship this week against Alabama, I am so excited about the Buckeyes playing against Alabama because I just love it when my team goes to the championship. So I'm super excited about it. But even though I'm excited about it, I know that it's not going to make a difference in my life. Right. I know that if the Buckeyes lose, I'm going to be like, oh, man, we lost. And then I'm going to go back to the things that actually matter. I'm going to go back to like feeding my children and exercising and trying to run my business, the things that actually matter in my life. At no point do I believe that the Buckeyes winning the championship is going to change my life, right? It doesn't. It's going to change the coach's life. It's going to change the player's life, but it's not going to change my life. So even as a fan, I voluntarily give my support to the Buckeyes, but it's limited support because I know that it has limited impact on my day-to-day life. So with politics, I would look at politics like a sport, right? You can be on Team Democrat or Team Republican, just like cheering for the Cowboys or the Steelers. And just know, though, that according to the data, you can believe whatever you want. You can have whatever feelings you want to have, but I'm going to give you some facts. The facts say that no matter which side wins the Civil War, no matter which side wins that next election, there is no evidence that you can provide to me that shows me that electing Black people to the Democrat or Republican Party is going to change the condition of Black people. So make sure you know the difference. So then you can decide, okay, white people are at the Capitol fighting y'all. They climbing over walls. They shooting at each other. Do I want to participate in that, or do I want to kick it and sit to the side? I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Do you guys want to, like, do you think we should get involved? You think we should form like a little Black militia and go down there and decide that we want to fight the Trump supporters, or maybe join the Trump supporters? What y'all think? Y'all think we should just get together and maybe I could call up the NFAC or something and see? I ain't never met the brother, but I'm sure we know about each other. Maybe I can hit him up and we can all go down with our guns and say we're here to defend the Capitol and save America. I mean, Stacey Abrams, right? She gets credit. She gets lots of mad props. She got major clout now. She probably got 100,000 social media followers from all the clout she got because she's the one who saved America. They got her on the magazine covers, like smiling, like I saved America, y'all. Right? Do y'all really? I mean, what do y'all think? Y'all think we should get together and go down there and form a militia? Because we can pick either side, right? It's okay. You can be Democrat or Republican. Like we could go fight the Trump supporters if you want. Like some of y'all, would y'all take a bullet for Joe Biden? How many of y'all in here would want to go take a bullet for Joe Biden or Donald Trump? Will one of y'all be willing to do, or maybe even not take a bullet? Because we don't want to incite violence, but maybe go to jail. How many of y'all would give me a yes or no? How many of you would go to jail for Joe Biden, or how many of you would go to jail for Donald Trump? Give me a would you go to jail for either party? Because I ain't going to jail for nobody. If I'm gonna go to jail or I'm gonna get shot, I'm gonna get shot fighting for Black people. If I'm gonna get taken out, it's gonna be because I was defending that beautiful Black woman in the other room. If I go take one to the dome, it's gonna be because I'm protecting those little Black girls that live upstairs in my house. I'm not out here trying to participate in the Jerry Springer show. This is Jerry Springer. Like that's what it is. It is, you know what it is? It is the most radical elements of the right confronting the most radical elements of the left on a playing field built by capitalist elitism that is supported by both parties. Right? Because if you look at the backgrounds of a lot of the politicians that get elected, whether you're talking about president or anything else, typically you'll notice certain themes. And I've studied these sorts of things, and I noticed some trends. A lot of them, for example, come from the same schools. You ever notice that a lot of the presidents, Democrat, Republican, come from Harvard and Yale? You think that's a coincidence? Or do you think that Harvard and Yale strategize to ensure that whichever side wins, we gonna win no matter what? we're gonna win no matter what. Because we got Democrats from Yale, we got Republicans from Yale, we got Democrats from Harvard, we got Republicans from Harvard. Do you think it's a coincidence that most of the members of the Supreme Court went to these same schools, or do you think it's a coincidence also that that you had or you think it's a coincidence that you have a strong Jewish presence on the Supreme Court? Or you think it just randomly? What do you think? You think it randomly happened, or you think somebody planned that? You see, people that have power typically plan for power. So the question is, what is your plan for power? What kind of power? What does power look like for you? Well, if you read Powernomics, then you'll find that power is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. That's how Dr. Anderson describes power. Power, another way to describe it in layman's terms might be a powerful basketball team can score points even if you play good defense. A powerful football team can get the ball into the end zone even if you try to stop them. A powerful football team will never try to win and then get mad and complain and whine and cry because the other team was playing defense. Every time we throw the ball down the field, they just intercept it. But that's how some of our people sound when we talk about power. We have power. We have like this struggle talk, this powerless talk that says, oh, every time we build a Black Wall Street, they're gonna burn it down. Well, then shut up and build another one. Well, every time we come together, they mess it up. Well, of course they are. They don't want you to have power, stupid. They don't want you to take away what they got. Why would they give it to you? Are you crazy? If they give it to you, then you better run. They're trying to give you vaccines. You gonna go take that too? Like seriously, when they start trying to give you stuff, you need to watch your back. I'm not telling you that it's all bad. I'm not telling you what to do as far as vaccines or food or anything like that. But they'll give you some stuff. They'll give you some student loans. They won't give you no business loan. You're going to have to fight for a business loan, but they'll give you a student loan. And how's that working out for you? How's those student loans working out for you? They'll give you student loans. They'll give you vaccines. They'll say, would you like more Popeye's chicken? We got plenty of Popeye's chicken for you, but they ain't going to give you the stuff that you want. They're not going to give you the business loan. They're not going to give you the reparations. They'll give you the job, but won't give you the ownership of the company. Those things are the things you have to fight for. Typically, the things that are valuable are the things you have to fight for. The things you don't have to fight for typically don't have any value, especially when they're handed to you by your oppressor. So when I see this civil war, when I see this big Jerry Springer show on TV, what I'm really seeing is a fight that has nothing to do with me. And I'm also seeing the radical leftists who wanted to starve you out so that they could get Trump out of office, right? They said, if you are struggling financially, it's okay as long as you don't get mad at Nancy Pelosi or Mitch McConnell. You get mad at Donald Trump, right? I also see the radical right, where you have guys like Mitch McConnell who, for some reason, can't find the money to write a $2,000 check for the American people, but yet he can find billions of dollars for big corporations. See, that's what it is. The Republicans, they fight for the capitalists. They pretend to be fighting for other stuff, but really they're fighting for the capitalists in a very, very elitist sort of way, right? They defend the corporations, they defend the wealthy, etc. The Democrats are also fighting for the capitalists, but it's in a different kind of way. It's more like this liberal elitism, this social engineering. Like we want all, whether you like it or not, we want your kids going to school to learn how to date a boy. Your little son, we're gonna teach him how to go kiss a boy, and we're gonna, we want to push all these other agendas that have nothing to do with what we actually want as Black people, what we want as Black families. And so there's sort of this very paternalistic elitism that liberals possess, where they say, look, because I'm your friend, the best thing I can do for you as your friend is to tell you what you want. I'm going to tell you what I think you need. I don't want to hear what you think you need. I'm going to tell you what I think you need. So I'm going to go into a Black church and I'm going to tell the church that you guys are homophobic because y'all not run around here just spitting out the gay agenda the way we want you to. So we're going to go talk about the whole Black church and talk about them like they're a bunch of ignorant, stupid Neanderthals who need to get with the 21st century. Well, there are many people in the Black church who are very intelligent who have said, we don't really need more gay people right now. We've got plenty of that. We don't hate them. We love them too. We love them because Jesus said love everybody, but we also need families. We also need our men. I know you want to say that all of our Black men are filled with toxic masculinity, that they all need to be shot or put in prison or whatever, because y'all built the prisons for that. Remember, it was the liberals who built those prisons, Joe Biden and his crew, right? But we need our men. We want our little girls to have a father. We want our sons to have a male role model. So our agenda is not your agenda, right? And that's the point I think it's important to understand. And and this is why I'm talking, right? I told you guys it's kind of I'm being a little bit of a hypocrite because I said to you that what's going on in DC has nothing to do with me. But if it has nothing to do with you boys, then why are you talking about it? Like seriously, like come on, boys, stop being a hypocrite. Why are you talking about it if it has nothing to do with you? Well, the reason I'm talking about it is because I want to encourage you to stay focused. I just want to encourage you to understand that the agenda that matters is your agenda. And I need you to know who the hell you are before they come along and try to tell you who you are. You see, here's what happens, right? I'll listen to a liberal who will talk about how racist the Trump supporters are, right? And they'll say, oh, those Trump supporters are a bunch of bigots, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be kind of confused. I'll be like, well, wait a minute. I know some Trump supporters who are not racist. I know some Trump supporters, black Trump supporters in my own family. They're not racist. They're just conservative. They vote for Trump because they hate. They do what you did. They hate the other side, so they pick the best option available. They're doing the lesser of two evil stuff, but I don't think they're all racist. And then I'll go talk to a Trump supporter, like a Candace Owens or somebody, who will say, well, those Democrats are so racist. I mean, they got a big plantation over there, and look at the black community. The black community has been falling apart under the Democratic rule. The Democrats have done nothing for black people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I mean, you got a point there, right? I mean, Democratic rule has done nothing for black people, but what are you doing that's better? What offer are you making that's better than that offer? Or are you simply here to create divide and conquer by convincing me and explaining to me why the Democrats ain't shit? I know the Democrats ain't shit. I know the Democrats ain't doing nothing for black folks. That's good. Thank you for telling me the obvious. Now that we've figured out that water is wet, now that we've done our water is wet analysis, I need you to take it to the next level and tell me what you're gonna do that's gonna make it a better deal for black people. And then maybe we can talk. Because if you're trying to occupy my blackness, that's what they're doing. They're occupying your blackness so that they can use your blackness to pursue their agenda. The Republicans don't really give a damn if you're black. They don't care about your community at all. They just want you to be the Negro wing of the Republican Party. That's what they need you to do. The Democrats don't care anything about you being black. They don't care nothing about your community. They don't care about your little cousin that got shot. They don't care about your family. Your family members have been in prison since Biden passed the crime bill. They don't care nothing about the fact that you didn't have a daddy. They don't care nothing about that. All they want is for you to be the Negro wing of the Democratic Party. They want you up there smiling, talking about, I saved America, y'all. Yeah, we saved America. I don't care about saving America. I want to save black people. That's it. I want to save my family. I want to save my people first. See, that is the thing that you have to understand is that since slavery, you have been trained to save everybody on earth but yourself. And so if you come to me with that stupid nonsense telling me about who you saved and you can't tell me what they did for you, then I'm going to look at you and say, you ain't nothing but a damn sucker. What you talking about? You saved America. Did America save you? Well, I saved the Democrats. Well, did the Democrats save you? Well, I saved Joe Biden. What did they do for? Okay, I get it now. I get it. Oh, so maybe they did save you, right? Maybe they wrote you a nice check. Maybe you now, because you saved the Democratic Party, Stacey Abrams or Roland Martin or whoever else. No disrespect to these people, but here's my point, right? I get it now. Maybe you're not so stupid. But maybe instead of saving the whole black community, they did save you because you were a Negro looking for a job in DC. You trying to go make the integrationist play. You're trying to get an interview with the president of the United States on Air Force One so you can brag to all your friends about how you made it. Right? You trying to become, so you're trying to get a cabinet position. You're trying to run for office yourself. You're trying to get support from the Democratic Party. So that's cool. I get that, but I kind of need us to be real clear, or at least me. I'm going to be the asshole in the room who kind of makes the distinction between Stacey Abrams doing something that benefits Stacey Abrams versus Stacey Abrams doing something that benefits the masses. You see, that's where the integrity piece comes into play. That's where the transparency piece comes into play. That's where Malcolm X would draw the line. Malcolm X talked about the fact that he always had white people that would be very nice to him, that would take very good care of him, that wanted to pay him lots of money in exchange for him for getting his support on various issues. And his position was very basic. It was, if you care about me, then you'll care about all my people. I got my people with me. And so if you can't take care of all of us, then you can't be around none of us. right? It's like a mother with children. Any decent mother who's dated, we talk about these things. We talk about relationship topics and should a man be obligated to help, to help a woman feed her kids if they going out on a date? I'm sorry, I'm old fashioned. My view is hell yeah. If that's your baby, maybe I'm biased because I had a single mother. My mother was a single mother for the first 3 years of my life. And if you got a baby and some dude wants to come lay up with you, he wants to come up in your house and get some every now and then and get the best of you and get access to the goodies that God blessed you with, he better at least be ready to buy a damn Happy Meal. He bet not act like you got to pay the babysitter every single time. Seriously. He better not act like I just want you, but I don't care nothing about that little Negro over there. That's not a real man to me. And that's not a man who's respecting your family. Any mother who loves their child is never going to mess with a man who don't want nothing to do with her kids. Because if you want access to the woman, you got to take the whole thing as a package. That was my mother's position. That if you want me, then you want us. And I'm sitting there like a little baby, little 3-year-old boy. It's like, hi, are you my daddy? Right? Doing all the little ghetto stuff y'all talk about, right? And I'm like, okay, where we go get ice cream? And when my father met my mother, I'm talking about my real father that raised me, not my biological father. I didn't know that man very much. But every single time I saw him, my whole entire life, I was able to live under this beautiful assumption that this man was going to take care of me as if I was his son. And that was a blessing that I didn't realize I had, but it's one that I am so thankful for every single day. I cannot imagine a world where he was such a wimpy ass man that he would literally be like, I'm going to date you, but I don't want nothing to do with him. Right? So what I'm saying to you is that when you talk about what a black leader is supposed to do, a black leader is supposed to represent black people. That's it. And I think that there has to be a difference between a black leader and what they call leading blacks, or a black leader versus somebody who happens to be in a leadership position who happens to also be black. Is your blackness part of your core identity, where you expand that into the black community to ensure that a large swath of the black community benefits from your power? Or are you a black person who just simply says, I'm kind of a black leader because a white man gave me power and I happen to have a black face? That doesn't make you a black leader. That kind of just makes you a Negro that's on TV. That's it. That's all it is. And I think that we don't have enough critical conversations because critical thinking is not encouraged in our community. Sheep-like thinking is encouraged. They want you to be sheep. They want you to be asleep. They want you to be stupid because stupid people don't ask questions. Stupid people don't challenge authority. Stupid people go along with the flow because they just want to fit in. That's not what we're here to do. If you really want to make progress, you got to do the work. And doing the work sometimes means challenging assumptions. So when you're talking about, again, circling back to all the Big Jerry Springer show that's happening right now in Washington, D.C., if you want to know my 2 cents on it, this has nothing to do with me as a black man. My battles, I got other battles I'm going to fight. This is a sign, yet another symptom of the inevitable decline of America. America is a country that has far too many problems to name, largely driven by the overcommitment to capitalism. Your education system ain't crap, so your kids are not prepared for the future. That's why I tell black people to educate your own children. You're overtaxing your people because your corporations have been allowed to hoard all the money. Your wealthy have been allowed to hoard the money through biased tax laws and not properly forcing them to hire American workers, and also giving them way too many write-offs to the point where you've got billionaires who pay less money in taxes than school teachers do. You also have problems that stem from the fact that your two-party system, as much as we're taught in school to believe that the founding fathers were so brilliant, they weren't that brilliant because these people fight so much that they can't move forward in a unified fashion to actually get things done. Say what you want about China. China is not a perfect society at all. China, in fact, is a very limited society when it comes to freedom, but China doesn't really flinch typically. China tends to move in lockstep. So they've got something that you don't have in America, which is unity. And believe me, the Chinese are smart and strategic. If somebody came to me and showed me proof that the Chinese literally pushed this virus thing out there just to make sure that America was divided enough and slowed down enough and frozen in fear enough not to be able to compete, I wouldn't doubt that plan at all. I wouldn't doubt it at all. Because believe me, while you sitting around fighting each other and frozen in fear and believing the world's going to come to an end and scared half to death, China's over making moves. China ain't playing. China's like, oh, yeah, we got the Americans now. Look at these stupid suckers. They are taking over the Capitol building. Our plan is starting to work. They have this to me, what I'm viewing here is nothing more than the manifestation of a consistent effort by people outside this country to create as much division as possible. So my thoughts, my advice, my 2 cents to black folks is hide your wife, hide your kids, build your life raft, because America's on its way down. That doesn't mean you have to be on your way down, but if you get on that boat, if you start picking sides and you jump in the middle of that fight, then you're going down with the ship, buddy. And I feel sorry for the black folks who make that decision. So I'm B1 all day. I'm over here. We're educating our own children. We're creating our own jobs. We're supporting black businesses. We're building black wealth. We're building black unity so that as the ship of America goes down, it becomes a power play for black people. You see, when the elephants start fighting, that's the chance for the mice to scamper away, right? When your oppressors start fighting each other, then that is your opportunity to unify yourself and go and get off the plantation. If Massa A is trying to come kill Massa B, they're going to be so busy trying to kill each other. And they're going to ask the slaves to get involved in the fight. And you're going to have those slaves. They're going to be like, okay, Massa, I got you, Massa. I got your Batman. No, I'm the slave who's going to say, okay, how do we kill both of them at the same time? Maybe when they come and fight each other, I'm going to sit back and snipe from the roof, right? I'm not the slave who's going to join up with me. I might pretend. I'm like, yeah, Master, I got you. You go right ahead. I'll be right behind you with the shotgun, right? But I'm planning my escape. I'm trying to get off the damn plantation, right? So that's my 2 cents. That's what I see. That's my analysis. I'll keep you posted if anything changes on that. So I'm going to go take a nap. I hope this helps some of you gain a perspective on it. I know you were asking me about it, so I thought I would throw in my 2 cents. Make sure you subscribe. Please subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the share button. Hit the subscribe button in case you haven't done that yet. And also, the Black Wealth Bootcamp starts tomorrow. We start tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So feel free to go to blackwealthbootcamp.com. That's blackwealthbootcamp.com if you'd like to join us. It's a 6-week masterclass on economic wealth building, all the principles, all that stuff. So feel free to join us. It's really, really good. And there's a money back guarantee. If you're not happy for any reason, we'll give you money back. So feel free to join us. I'm out. Have a good day. Thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you soon.